Hello guys, and welcome to Dubai Trains, and welcome to another operation session. And today we're going to be switching the car float, the Pensy interchange, basically. And I know some of you have been looking forward to this video and asking about it, because the first operations video we're actually going to, switch the car float out. I did make a little shorts video on YouTube. And yeah, I think I put that footage in one of the other videos as well, where I showcase how to make the car float. But today we're actually going to operate it. So here we go. We're going to take this RS3, 4, and we're going to take, let me go, that string of cars. That whole string is going to go to the car float. First, I'm just going to get a caboose, stick it onto the back, and then we're going to depart through that track right there, because our resident switcher, which is that one, is just parked on the track, basically. So line up all those turnouts. There we go. And let's see how far I get with this Bowser locomotive. I mean, nothing wrong with Bowser, but the ECU decoder inside is a bit finicky, let's say. I still need to put a capacitor in here, or current keeper, or whatever it's called. I have it laying around, just didn't get around to it. So busy building the layout, I guess. So here we go. Easy does it. Oh, that was very abrupt, wasn't it? And that was it. I have the, well, what is it, a long wave or something antenna system that the Pensy had back in the day on this engine. So I could use one of these cabooses. We could use that radio system. I think it is developed especially for the going through the hills and the mountains with those long cold drags, to be able to communicate then, despite the distance in the hills. I think that's the reason why they initially developed it. Today I finished the new roster, and the roster, I mean, the trains, the jobs are the same. It's just mostly the order in which they depart and arrive at the yard, and the roster, the line diagram, string diagram that goes with that. And the main reason I switched it up is because I want to have more trains run simultaneously. And so that's good for operation sessions. That's a nice shot, isn't it? Let me just take a picture. That might be a nice little thumbnail there. Well, actually, thumbnails. It's going to be with the car float, isn't it? So what was I going to say? I'm going to say that resident switcher also needs to get out of the way, because we do need to make a runaround. Yeah, so anyway, so a more dense roster with the main idea is that when we're operating with more people, there are more trains at the same time, so we need to communicate a bit more to make sure we don't bump into each other. So I just need to go over here, just clean that turnout. And also, when I'm by myself, then I also have to watch out for traffic a little bit more. And that also means that it was gonna, I think the implication of that is that when, put that camera like that. Implication of that is that when I operate by myself, that we're going to follow one single train that goes through organic traffic that is there. And that might mean that we don't get to see all the trains in one operation session, just because some of the trains are made up and staged beforehand before I make the video to create that organic traffic. So here we go. Normally this switcher is parked way over there. It's waiting on the other side of that bridge. And now I see again why it's always there. Because it's now in the way. But no worries, I'm just gonna get a late proto throttle. I'll just show you how that works. Load. I want to load that one. Load. I'm just going to leave all the other settings as is. Now, because the lights are set the way they were set, you see they immediately jump on or switch on. That's fine. I'm just going to move them. I'm going to make it a little bit easy for myself. I got it a little bit. Go to notch. What are we at? 4. Just get him out of the way. Let's get him to the other side of that bridge. See if I can get that on camera. Not that special. See, maybe if I put it here, it'll be a nice shot in a minute. Oh, we all know my ability to do 2 things at once, so you see that in the camera shot. Well done. So another, let's call it attribute or result of the layout that I have built. It's a point-to-point layout, as most of you are aware. Switch the engine off, and then I fear that. Sorry, that I've just switched the engine off here, off of this engine. The switcher. Come on, focus. Hello. Yes. Joke. I fear, and what's probably going to happen, that when I switch over to the other engine, it's probably going to turn that engine off because the setting is to off. Yeah, see, there we go. I don't know if you can hear it. My engines are relatively low volume, so sometimes, yeah, you mostly hear me, and it sounds like the engines are on somewhere in the distance. But that just is because the engines, they're not on that loud. And I like it that way for myself. And my other household, people in my household, they also like it when it's not too loud. Not everyone really appreciates railroad noises as much as us, unfortunately. But that's fine. I don't like loud noises, so. Here we go. That one. And then we're just going to do a run around, get to the front of the train. And then we're off. So careful. Don't really trust this engine yet because I had some issues with the decoder, so running it towards another engine is not my favorite hobby. Come on, there we go. Yes. Another thing that these ESU decoders have, and if someone can correct me if I'm wrong, please do, because I want to change it, but apparently it's a feature, is this delay when you change, when you go from standstill to motion. Now, in real life, there is also a delay. It just takes time for that genset or the engine to rev up, and then for the generator to rev up and to make more electricity, and then to actually get the locomotive in motion. And that's all great and fine, but with other decoders, you can set this a bit more accurate. You can choose between smaller values and larger values to wait anywhere from like, I don't know, like a quarter of a second to 5 minutes if you want to. But in the ESU decoder, no, the feature is either on or it's off. And maybe when it's on, you can adjust it a little bit, but the minimum value is just absolutely way too long. The minimum value is like, I think like a second or 2 or something, which, well, maybe even 3. It just takes forever for this engine to turn around. So I think I might just turn it off because we're doing a lot of switching here. And ain't nobody got time to wait for engines to rev up. So there we go. There we go. Ease in a little bit. Yeah, too much. Trying to do something fancy. Didn't work out as it goes. So there we go. I hit it too hard. That's fine. Dim the lights a little bit. And off we go. And we're going to go through near north all the way to the car float. So as I was saying, a result of the layout that I have being point to point, but being curled up in a bit of a a curl, a monkey's tail, so to speak, is that the yard lead that you saw over there is actually next to the car float, which is geographically speaking on the other side of the line. Personally, I don't have a problem with that. It really does not bother me one bit. I can imagine some people having problems with that. Let's say the hardcore guys. But yeah, that is what it is. So we're going to travel all the way across the layout to get like a good 5 inches further down the line. I mean, they're not connected. There is a dotted line there, as my regular viewers will know. There is a dotted line because if you want to do some continuous running, then you can close that dotted line and then have some continuous running. But normally, ignoring operations, normal operations like now, there's no way to get from one to the other. You really have to go all the way through near north, a bit like we're doing right now. So one reason why I changed the roster, I explained it, is I want to have a little bit more activity in this area while I have to cross it. Now there's no one, so the signal is yellow. That means caution, proceed at low speed. It means there's no one here. It means that I am now the operator as long as I'm in this area. So if someone else wants to get in or through near north, they need to contact me, the operator. The signals will now also be set to red because I'm in this area. So that also signals that there's someone here, there's an operator here. And as soon as I leave the area, it's going to go back to yellow, which signals everyone again that there's no one here, and that if you enter, then you are going to be the default operator until you exit yet again. It's something I came up with a friend of mine, Frank. I don't know if it's super prototypical, but it fulfills the requirements that I am looking for when it comes to operating in a signal system for my layout. And I'm going to make a separate video on this, but just to reiterate to myself before I start forgetting stuff. The requirements are, one, it needs to be easy for me to make and implement. So, and enjoyable also. And I don't like to make block systems and complex wiring and make everything super digital and automated. That's just not not what I seek in this hobby. So that's one. Two, it needs to be easy for people who are not really used to operating to learn and to use. And that's probably one of the biggest and most difficult challenges, to be honest, to come up with a system that... Oh, welcome to Bowser. Okay, so we had a little situation. Division Street Yard, this is the Benzie Hostler. We have a situation. Our engine ceased and we are dead stuck on track number 2 just before McKinsey Street, clearing the turnout. Please send a backup. Over. Yard, copy that. Your engine has ceased. We will send someone to get you out of there. Over. So that's the engine. It's completely not doing what I wanted to do. So we're just going to continue. We're going to go here and I'm going to do the recall button until we get to this guy. And let me turn the sound on. I think it was off. There we go. Turn the light on. Give the horn. Who is going to move? Who is going to move? Who is it? It's going to be this guy. Oh, sorry. I just put it here. Didn't put it on the track correctly. And why am I taking this guy? Well, we do need a little bit more of an oomph to pull these strings of cars. So, and we just did steam, so I don't want to get that guy. And That guy clearly doesn't have enough oomph. And that guy doesn't any steam, so he's double not getting this job. And that over there, the RS4 could do it. Oh, way over there, but he's our resident switcher, so I don't want to disturb him. He's probably hibernating right now. Never wake up a bear whilst it's hibernating. So there we go. Off we go. And normally this is a bit of a, I was going to say Brutus engine, but engine that maybe I'm the Brutus here, that I use a bit brutally in times. And by that I mean that I just have some momentum on it, just enough to treat the gearbox and the motor inside a bit nicely. And I just use it to clean the track and to shove stuff around, basically. So now we're going to do some switching. I did modify it slightly to make a little bit of an easy switcher. And I know what you're saying, like an F7 is not really a switcher. And this is also a passenger F7. But hey, we're in the 50s. We're at the end of the rope for a lot of railroads, and hence why this division railroad association has been set up, just to make this all viable. And this is an engine we had left. So this is what we're going to use today. See if we can get that super elevated curve in here. So this is what we're going to use today. There we go, look at that. To the rescue, a mighty little F7. So here we go. It's going to follow the exact same track. And let's see how we're going to solve this, because now, what does this mean? We have a bit of a roadblock, being a couple 100-ton weighing Alco RS 3, 4, whichever one it is. Now, I'm sure in real life, they might have just tow it out of there. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to continue this operation session and just leave it there all the way to the end, and then they'll tow it off camera. Or just grab it and, out of frustration, put it down somewhere and decide what to do with it. So here we go. Like I was saying, the signaling system, it has to be easy. Also, for me to explain to other people that it really is something that is important, because I do want to operate the yard. There we go, peekaboo. And so yeah, that we really need to think who is going to operate the yard, or the layout, sorry, with me. And if these are experienced folks, go ahead, go crazy. But if they're not, then you gotta keep it a little bit simple, you know. Oh, the light is still even directional on this guy. Let me just couple it, because you see it doesn't want to couple right now like this. And why? Because we're in a curve, and you want to say, or you don't have the right coupler. But actually, this is the right coupler because it's an extended one. I just don't have these fancy scale head ones in the extended version. So just gonna go like that. Yeah, good, great. And what are we gonna do? Well, we're gonna uncouple it here, obviously, to the engine, just like that. And let me zoom out a bit. Oink. And then, well, we needed to do a runaround anyway, so it spared us the runaround. So let me show you guys. Let me explain a bit what we're going to be doing here. It's not difficult, but some explanation might be in place. So let's just clear that turnout, and then we'll get to explaining. And I am going to stop the train, because if I don't, it's just going to run off into something, and that's not what we want. So here we have a little cheat sheet which I put for all the operators. So right now our engine is stuck basically where this number 2 is, but that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these cars and we're going to put them on the storage track, because we need to store them somewhere. And there's a few cars on the team track that also need to go on the car float, so we'll get those first and then put all the rest on the storage track. So the storage track holds, I'm going to use the old and new or fresh reference again. So we have new fresh cars on the car float. We're going to take these off and spot them right here on this black track right there. And the old cars that are on the storage track are going to go onto the car float. And because the car float holds twice the amount of cars that is allowed at maximum train length, we're going to, in this run, take half of the cars back that are then parked on this black track, take half of them back to the yard, and then take the other half back in a separate run. So, what do we have? See if I can get a bit of a lay of the land here. This one actually leads to the car float. This is the storage track. This is the team track. This is that black track that we're going to put all the new, fresh cars on. So half of the cars are already here that have to go onto the car float. These two are also going to go onto the car float, together with the string that we brought in. And the other cars right there that are on the team track, they are going to go back with us to the yard. Because one thing that happened a lot, or that okay, I'm not going to say a lot. One thing that happened back in the day is that they would have a some cars would actually be offloaded on the from the car float, from the key side. Not this setup, but you know, you can imagine how that would look like. And some cars would just be offloaded and immediately put on team track nearby. That's this one for offloading. So that's what we're going to do right here. That's the setup that we have right here. So some cars that are on the car float are going to go to the team track. So let me just think a little bit. Yeah, this is all going well. Because we also need to keep in mind that at the end of the day, we need to have an engine, cars, and caboose. The caboose right now is way over there. The engine is there. Part of the cars are here on the team track. So right off the bat, straight from the get-go, early bird gets the word. Not really, that really doesn't fit in there. But right there, before even touching the car float, we need to get organized. So how am I going to do that? First, I'm just going to push this entire string of cars onto the storage track that you're going to see right now. Just going to zoom back a bit, walk back, see a bit what's going to happen, because that track ends somewhere and there's a turnout here that needs to be set. Don't worry, it's all calculated. It's meant to hold all the amount of cars that we're shoving right now. At least should be. I don't know. I didn't do this before, so maybe track's too short. I'm just gonna push them all in the river. No, I don't think so. So here you see a little bit why we need an engine. It has a little bit more zest, a little more kapow under the hood. And it's all going well. I could not just leave it right there because I do need to clear that turnout. Exactly where the caboose is at right now. Just going to push it down a little bit more. No worries. But safe than sorry. I don't want to touch this string of cars again until it's ready to go onto the car float. Somewhere right there. I'm just going to zoom in. Yeah, see, we cleared everything that we wanted to clear. Now I'm just going to spot this caboose there first, just to be safe. Come on. Doing this with left. I'm right-handed. I don't know why I opted for that. And then we go back. Probably because my right hand is more steady. So first I'm just going to spot the caboose. So, ooh, yeah, we have that engine there. So normally I would spot that caboose right there, but because this engine is here, we have to go around it. It's not a big deal. We can, but we're going to have to go around it. So let me just make sure these turnouts are okay. They're actually all not okay. Bum, bum. Then we're going to come in from here. Just going to let that engine be, sit in his own misery. I need to find out what's wrong with that thing. I'm actually just going to declare that nothing's wrong. I'm just going to install that power supply first, that current keeper, and after that I'll see. I mean, I do my programming in JMRI, so that comes down to that I can just easily reset the decoder and make it work with a non-prototype protothrottle. Sorry, just with a basic cab like this Pro cab or any other cab. And then just test it. We'll test it like that first. And if all that works, Then let me do some fancy programming. So one downside, because we have to go all the way here. I'm sorry, it's not really foreseen that we go all the way here into near north for this maneuver. And guess what? It's going to get worse because we're going to have a massive string of cars attached to it. So let me just call in the yard and ask him to remove this engine to tow it away. Because otherwise it's just going to add unnecessary length to this video. Mr. George, the RS3, copy. When are you planning to drag that out of here? Over. This is the Mr. George. Actually, we have an engine on the way to get out of here. You should be there in a couple minutes. Over. Okay, well, that's great news. That saves us a little bit of a headache. So then let me just... We're going to immediately adapt to the changing situation. So instead of just plopping this caboose right over there, I'm going to park it after this turnout. So then from now on, once that engine's gone, I'm going to use this track instead of that track. Because we can get to that track through here. So we don't have to go all the way around there like we just did. We can just take a shorter route as intended. The only thing that's not intended is that cheating. That engine, that engine just broke. I mean, it didn't break. It's just, I don't know what it is, man. The commands are just not getting through to the damn thing. Something like that. Anyway, so what are we going to do now? Well, we're going to... A few things we can do. First thing we need to do is we need to clear this team track. Because like I said, when we're shuffling everything around, we're going to get a few cars from the car float that need to immediately, ASAP, go to this team track. Don't want to be messing around. Because you want to turn this car float around as quick as you can. So that means we need to clear it, and we need to get those 3 cars and just get it out of here. Hey, someone picked up that engine, towed it off. That's good news, because it was a bit pain in the butt where it was. So you see, we just adapt to the situation, don't we? That's what it's all about in life, they tell me. The stuff that happens in between the plans. So there we go. It's a little quick crude switch around. I mean, if I really plan to use this engine, I like it and I want to use it, but I have too many engines. I have too many. And someone already asked me, can you give me a little bit of update on the roster and the, just a little information on the engines and the decoders and the brands and all that. And I will soon in a video, not this one. But there you'll see that I have too many engines, and I really want to switch this one more like this old style, wind tunneled, smoothened out, nosed engine. But yeah, I have too many of them, too many engines, so I'm probably not going to use it. So it's plowing on. This has the economy in it, so you hear the sound is, or maybe you don't hear it, it's not that loud. The sound is a bit monotone. So if I am going to use this one, I'm going to put one of these, I think it's a BH2 in it, which is basically a replacement board with Tsunami 2 for the economies. So it's, I did a video on that, different, on one of the steamers I replaced it as well. It's not really plug and play, but it's quite straightforward to change it. Now, it's all going wrong. It's not all this is. I made a mess. It's all over the place today, ain't I? What is happening? The engine's breaking, messing up the throttle. What happened is I wanted to push the direction button, but I hit the increase fast button. Yeah, so, and that happens, doesn't it? So, like I said, a bit all over the place today, but that's okay. Still growing relatively fast. Only half hour in or so. 60 minutes on this thread. Yeah, so we're only, I think, 10 minutes in or so. So everything's fine. It's going to go really quick. You'll see it in a minute. We're just setting the stage to swap those cars out. In real life, the car float would be flipped, let's say, as quick as possible. Time is money. And also not only for the railroads, but also for the the car ferry service. So they just want everything to be ready and here and done when that car float arrives. So that's a little bit why the roster is the way it is, to accommodate for these types of situations. So let me see, just right there. So the situation is that you want to have all 15 cars that fit on the car float. So in my case, that's 2 train loads, 2 full trains almost. You want to have them sitting there ready, waiting for that car float. And that's what's happening now. So we got all the cars, we dragged the second half in. The second half of the drag we dragged in. And now we're just clearing the stage because the car float, you might have seen that it's there, but it hasn't arrived yet. It's actually, I hear the tugboat in the distance. It's almost there. Something like that. So yeah, so we're just setting the stage to do it quickly, as quick as we can. So we're just going to put those guys there. And then we're going to go back. And so much needs to happen. I just can't wait to just get all this ballasted. That's going to be one of the next steps, and just get some basic scenery in here. And just have this slightly overgrown green area here where the train just goes through, just runs its paces. So here we go. The car ferry, car float, barge, which other words can we come up with, has arrived. So we're gonna make our way over there. Put that bell on. Is there a bell? Yes, it is. Keep us company. These are the handle cars. We're gonna need 3 of them. So that's why I have 3. And here's the car float, just arrived. The tugboat just pulled away. And let me see, we're going to do the sides first and then the middle track. It's the last track we're going to do. And let me just get the cars that have to go to the team track first. No, it's not going to happen, because let's just say we want to have 1, 2, 3 cars on the team track. So that's actually going to be the last string we're going to pull out. So the first one is going to be this one. It's also blocking that section. So let's get the turnouts set. And let's get in some kind of nice angle mode. Now these 2, let me see if I can get a nice angle. Oh, look at that. That's way better, isn't it? Now these 2 kits were supposed to be the same height, but as you see, it's not. The apron is a little bit higher than the car float, than the barge. So that means it's a little bit of a downhill slope. Oh, that was a nice little neat couple. Let me just check it. Yep. Which looks great, I must say. The only downside is gravity. When you're going, oh, ha. Okay, this is going to be the operation session where everything just doesn't go well. So let's just get that out of the way. That's going to be today. Yeah, I'm not going to edit it all out, because some people told me not to edit it all out. So those some people, if you feel spoken to, this is what you get. So, okay, here we go. Holy banoli. What more can go wrong? You will have knock wood. I'm not going to say that again. So there we go. So the downside is of having because ideally I would have the apron go up and not down. Because the downside is now that gravity takes hold of the cars while they're like going down that little apron, and it makes it the movement a bit jittery. They like jitter because one hand they want to go down, and then the wheels get caught on some bumps in the track because there's quite a lot of them here in this section. And yeah, not ideal. Oh, look at that. It just looks like we're there, isn't it? cars we have left? Ah, the Guggenheim. Great series of museums if you're into it. Kind of get an idea now where all the money comes from. So that's that. We just pulled the string. Now, I am just... How many cards we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We did say that's the largest number. But I'm just going to pull the second half as well, just to get a little bit of speed in here in this obsession. So that turnout, and like that. Put it in reverse. Here we go. So now you'll probably see a little bit of that jittery motion that I'm talking about. I mean, it is what it is. I still enjoy it. But maybe on the next layout or something, I might lift the barge a bit, or lift the water area a bit. What speed are we going? Keep a little bit of an eye on it. Oh, there we go. Now, sorry, I'm just focused on filming, so I just stopped talking. I need to get more of those auto racks, and I think I actually might want to get the black ones. I think it's ATSF that has the black auto loaders. The 50-foot, ideally, or like the 40-foot ones. But yeah, I just want to get like 2 or 3 of them. Don't really have a place to offload them, but they just look so great. So here's this entire string of cars we're taking out. And don't mind taking out this massive stack. Just think what we're gonna do. We're already way, let me say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cars already. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them on this track right here. And it's actually technically way too long to go through the layout because we're more than 8 cars. But once we've loaded the ferry, then this track will be empty. So we can maybe spot some cars there, so just so we can take off with those cars. Some serious railroading going on here. And you see we also are sticking quite a bit into the near north section. So that's maybe why I also don't like to take 2 of these stacks of cars at once. But I must say, last time when I did this, when I was just messing around, I actually, well, let me just focus on that turnout and on, I'll do. I actually had the parked cars waiting on the back track, and I used this to spot the cars that came off the float. And the advantage of that is the distance between here and there. So that's almost like 1.5 feet or something, or maybe a foot. Oh, here, that one, yeah. So it's a 1.5 feet. That you don't have to stick into near north, because now we have to go all the way back there. But otherwise, you can just go here and then spot them right there. So anyways, we didn't do that. So this is just what it is right now. That's maybe lessons learned for the car float. So when you bring in the first half and then the second half of the cars that have to go onto the car float, is to spot them on the, yeah, basically the end of the main line. and not on the storage track. So there we go. You see the engine sitting there in shame. Could have been the star of the show. But you had to just ignore those CVs, ignore those commands. Oh well. We'll get it fixed. That's the only downside from being geographically a bit far away from the stores is you can't just go and return the bloody thing. You have to really go out of your way and do a lot of special shipping and all that. And shipping turnaround times is about two weeks. 2 weeks up, 2 weeks down. So that means it's a month just in shipping alone to get all that done. And then I don't know how much in value to ship the damn thing. Then with the insurance, yada 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 yada. So that's where we are now. So I'm just going to try and repair it myself. Like I said, I'm just going to reset it to the default settings. I use JMRI as I already said. So the advantage is you can save different setups. So the default setting might even be saved. But at least I want to save this prototype one, so the proto throttle one, so I don't have to redo that. So that will do just right there. It's a bit of a long string. And the auto motorists are going to be happy because I left a lane open for them. Let me just need to give myself a little bit of slack there. Blah. So much weight. All these cars that just didn't want to move and couldn't uncouple. So there we go. Now we just go into the final string. That's still on the float, and 3 of those are going to go to the team track. And then we can start loading the car float. I might actually just spot them all on the team track for now, just so I can make some space to put the extra cars on that we're not going to take back in this round. So there we go. Make sure the turnouts are aligned. That's really easily done. Yes. Yes. Fly over here. And no. So we need to go to the middle track. And there's another one here. Just like that. Nothing too special. So why do I have 3 handle cars? Well, 2 is just not long enough. You need to get all the way from here to there, basically. The engine's not allowed on the apron. And the apron's also not powered for that matter. So that really means, you need 3 cars. You're going to see it right now. First I had 2 cars, but then I really had to tow onto that apron, which I didn't really want to do. So then, it's back to 3 cars. Yeah, let's see how far we get tonight. Time's ticking. It's been a long day. For everyone who has kids, or if you don't have kids, here's some information. Some days are great, and some days are a bit more challenging. And today was a challenging day. So it's nice to kick back with your friends and steamers and run some trains. And after that, maybe watch some TV. So here we go. This is the most notorious one for derailing, but easy does it. If you just go slow, it all works. Look at that. Doesn't that look great? And if you think like, wow, why are there so many nuts in here? Well, that is the NMRA standard weight, or standard scaled weight, and that gondola is just so light that I had to add all that weight to it. And you're gonna want to have scaled weight when you do these kind of operations at these type of speeds over this type of track with these type of train lengths and all that. You want to have everything quite up to snuff, as some people would say. And then the reward is that it works. Just knock on wood again. Before I jinx even more stuff and everything derails. You see it's a bit wobbly there, but so far so good. I'm not going to get overconfident. I'm not going to increase the speed. We're at speed step number 3. Okay, let me do number 4. Let's see how that goes. I'm just going to wait for the last truck with the last axle. There we go. And off we go. So this was offloading. So you see we got a lot of cars sitting around here. It's all going quite swift, quite fast. So we said the last 1, 2, 3, ABC. It's gonna go there. Whoops, sorry, to the team track. So I'm just gonna put this whole string. I mean, there's only one more car on it. Just on that team track. Zoom out a bit. See a little bit more. Now, if you think that these tracks are a bit chaotic, and yeah, it could be true. I think the scenery, once done, will give it a little bit more of a structuring of what's what, with the grass over there, and this being a big scene with the team track and a lot of trucks and whatnot loading and offloading. I might even put a fence in here, just really to separate the scenes and to just make it easier for operators as well to operate. I mean, that's the end of the day. You want to have so-called visual cues to give an idea that something is different than the rest. So if you have 4 tracks and one track has gray ballast and the other 3 black, for example, then that one track might be the main line. Or maybe it just has fresh ballast. Who knows? So there we go. Look at all these faces in the crowd. I like it. So I'm just gonna put that one right there. Let's get this done. There we go.